Today, I'll be talking about a game called Gravity Rush 2, released at the start of this year exclusively on PS4. Gravity Rush is a game where you aren't bound by two-dimensional movement. You can fly, or in this case, fall, in any direction you want. If you can see something, you can just straight fall right to it. The open world map is absolutely massive, and you wouldn't be able to represent its map on a piece of paper. You'd have to 3D print it. The game has a very nice cel-shaded art style that is an absolute joy to look at. It goes above and beyond most games these days by having more than just varying shades of mud for the colour palette. It has an old European town design for one part of the world and a modern city-like area for the other. Something you may notice when playing is how the game feels a lot like the golden ages of games from the early 2000s, back when games were made by passionate devs and were just for fun. And there's a good reason for that. The developer had this idea in mind as a PS2 game back in the day, and it shows in a very good way. There's no shortage of things to do in this game. You can explore any part of the map at any time you want. Lunar jump across floating cities, take peep shots, command the local wildlife, gravity slide through lakes, race people's ghosts online in time trials, mess around with stasis fields and go nuts throwing shit around, fight the embodiment of Satan, wait what? And fill in as a celebrity to draw rabid fans away from the real one. Gravity Rush 2 avoids the issues most open world games have in that they just get boring after a while. Games like GTA 5 I personally had this issue with, as it was more or less the same old boring shit for X amount of hours, and I ended up getting simply bored shitless and haven't touched it in years. As I mentioned earlier, you can go anywhere at any time you want, and there's just so much to do in the world. You can go on online treasure hunts using clues left by other players to earn rewards. You can simply spend hours exploring, or you can bust out the camera the game gives you near the start of the game and just go take as many photos as you feel like, which sounds pretty average on paper. But in the 70 plus hours I ended up putting into this game, that was one of the main things I found myself doing. As far as story goes, that's probably the weakest part of the game. It's pretty typical of a Japanese game, and it isn't all that much to write home about. It's serviceable though, and it doesn't detract from the game. There's just under 30 main missions, which range from infiltrating military strongholds to rescue hostages, to facing off against lightning gods. And insane local pop stars. There's also around 50 side missions which are pretty fun. You can tell the development team had a lot of fun with some of them. I won't spoil them as they're great to experience yourself. Another great part of the game is the presentation. The conversations are done in a comic book style, and the game is voiced in an entirely made up language, which sounds like a mix between French and Japanese. It sounds odd, but it ends up being quite endearing. The music is also fantastically well done and implemented, from cozy hometown sounding tracks to lively city centre pieces. The game also gives you different gravity styles to play around with, in Jupiter and Lunar style. Jupiter style simulates high gravity, which makes you move slower but gives you far more inertia, which is great for dealing huge damage. Lunar style is the opposite, and lets you spring around light as a feather, but lets you move around over large distances very far. and gives you short range teleport. You can switch between these and normal gravity on the fly. You can become quite overpowered if you master all the intricacies of the three. When I was playing this, it really felt like I was playing a game made with passion from the PS2 days, as opposed to the mass-produced crap that's so common these days. It was a game where I just felt like I was having genuine fun, and even coming back a few months after I'd beaten it to record this video, I found myself casually playing for hours at a time without even realising it. This game is exclusive to PS4, but I honestly think it's one of the best single-player games going at the moment. There just currently isn't any other game like it on the market. You can pick it up for pretty cheap as well, and it's well worth playing. Hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to leave a comment down below and tell me what you think.